Welcome to MB Dog Training. You're about to watch us do an initial session with a fairly reactive dog called Roxy. She is reactive to dogs mainly when she sees them. She's kicking off, she's lunging, she's barking, she's at the end of the lead, and it's really unenjoyable for her owners, and it's also pretty unsafe. So we are going to break that down with her owners and try and fix this issue with them. You're about to see what is step one of pretty much every lead reactive case we work on. You're about to see how we break that down. Roxy has an amazing personality. She's really, really friendly with people. She's super sort of exciting and fun. And I think sometimes this works against her because she builds up a lot of frustration while she's behaving that way. So we're going to help her to use those emotions in a little bit more of a helpful way. And we're going to begin by working on lead pressure. In my experience, 99% of reactive dogs are reactive on the lead, but they're not as reactive off it. So we need to fix how they behave on the lead before we worry about getting them off the lead. And reactivity, in many cases, we had a discussion with the family before we came out and did the actual session. Reactivity tends to come from one of two places: fear and nerves, or frustration and over-arousal. It's not that it's going to be exactly one or the other. There's going to be a bit of a spectrum there, but usually they lean more one way or the other. And we seem to believe that Roxy is more of a frustrated reactive than a fearful reactive, because she can be quite friendly with other dogs, but she maybe doesn't know how to harness and control those emotions, especially when there is another dog present. So the first thing we're going to work on is her lead pressure, how she responds to lead pressure, how she engages with her handler, and we're not going to go any further than that until we believe that she's really good at that step, because when it comes to reactivity or reactive dogs, skipping steps ruins the whole thing. In my experience, once dogs have understood lead pressure and they're not frustrated with it anymore and they're engaged with their handler, 2/3 of reactive behavior just goes away, because it comes from a place of frustration and we remove the frustration. And it's the same with fear reactive dogs. It comes from feeling restrained and like they don't have enough space. Once we change how they move on the lead and how they respond to pressure, a lot of that behavior goes away because they feel more relaxed.
Okay, so which side do you prefer her on? On your left. Okay. So with the lead, just bring it in. So with the lead, I always picture the dog next to me when I do this. We want the loop to be able to pass through freely. So we're on that side. If it's the other way up, what you'll find is it can't release. So I always picture the dog next to me. If you need to use your hand, do that. So if you put that over her head, and okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to constantly be, so we've got a bit of open space. This is literally all I need, is this amount of open space. I'm just going to be moving, I'm going to be moving away from her, yeah? Wherever she is, I'm going to point my feet at her and I'm going to move away. And as it goes tight, yes, I want to try and get it loose. So when she comes towards it, she will just circle me for a minute. But I want to try and get moving in a direction away from her. Yes. Now if she keeps circling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop, then, yes. Yes, good. So I want her to know that when you feel that lead go loose, that's when you've done the right thing. So I mark and push at the same time. Yes. And then I want her to eventually know that yes means food. At the minute she doesn't know that. Yeah, you can see that I say yes and she's like, whatever mate, and carries on doing whatever she's doing. Okay. So I want to just be, wherever she is, I want to be going the other way. Yes, good. The only thing that's missing there is that when I say yes, she looks at me for a treat, yeah? At the minute we just don't have that piece in, but we'll come on to it, okay? So, pressure on. I'll wait for it to, so pressure on, yes, good. Okay, yeah, and all I'm doing at the minute is that, yeah? And lots of it, until it's second nature to her. Yes, good, yeah? So it's, I've not gone with her anywhere yet, yeah? We haven't moved like this at all yet. Yes, good. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool, give it a try. So, if you can help it, you don't want the food directly in your hand too much. You want to have access to it, because eventually what I want is that you can say yes. Yeah, so wherever she is, point your feet at her, and move away. And again. Yes. Good. Yeah, yeah. Once you've said yes, just go in your pocket and get a treat. Eventually, that yes will turn into the reward itself, because you can't give her the food instantly for the decisions she makes every time. So just try again. Start again. So move away. Yes. Good. Yeah. And the only thing she's going to hear from you is yes, good girl, well done. Yeah. She's not going to hear this way, Roxy, sit down, stay here. She's not going to hit no, stop it. I don't care if she barks. Yes. Good. Yeah. Good. And again. So pressure on. Move away from her. Yes. Good.
So I'm just going to jump in here, guys. You may notice if you're into your dog training, you might notice that the owners are rewarding and marking things at the correct time, but the marker isn't having the effect that it should have. Roxy should hear that marker and look to her owners for a reward. They weren't aware of markers before we started this session. We had the conversation before we went out. You see her start to respond more to the marker during the process, but we will need to do a lot more work on that. So I am aware that the marker isn't doing what it's supposed to, but they haven't built that in yet. But we should see, the next time I go see them, we should see that she's really responding to that.
So you can see at the minute, the marker was at the right time. All I eventually want to see is that she goes, oh, cool. Yeah. She's doing the right thing. It's all, you're doing everything fine. Eventually that marker will start to work. So move away. Yes. Good. Don't mind the barking at the minute, because all I'm trying to get her to focus on is this pressure. It's the only thing I care about right now. Yeah? If she's a bit excited, if she's a bit vocal, I don't mind. Good. And again? Yes. Good. Good. Yeah. So really break those treats up if you can as well. You want it to get like tiny bits at a time. Don't give us a handful and I'll break a few up for you. Where are you going? Good. 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 So keep moving away. Yes. That's it. That's the response that we need from her when she feels pressure. Now at the minute, she's also willing to go against it because she's done that successfully for years. Yeah. I wanted to know, especially on this lead, there is no going against it. It's going that way. It's not going with you. And we want her to not have experienced that. Cool. Try and keep your arm down. So with your arm out here, if your arm's up, she's got to go towards the pressure and she can't go that way. Yeah? So you want to, everything nice and loose and low, just so, because the direction she has to go in needs to be available and she can't go upwards. Yeah, good. And a lot of the people who've been pulled a lot have this as a default, yeah? Or people who've got a dog that's really reactive, you're always you're trying to get a connection to your dog, but what do we want? We want a loose lead. Yeah, and if our end of it's tight, she's got no chance of getting her end loose. So it's a two-way thing. Good. She's very vocal, isn't she? She's very good. Yeah, good. So as she starts to get a bit more focused on you now, all I want you to do is start moving with her to then go away from her. Yeah. So at the minute it's all away from her. I now want you to sort of go with her a little bit and then go away. Yeah. Good. She strikes me as the type of dog that's going to really thrive at doing this kind of stuff. She's going to enjoy it. Good. Good. So move away from her now. Yes. Good. Yeah, good. 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 So it'd be easy to start thinking, right, I want to deal with this barking, I want to deal with this, I want to deal with that, I want to deal with the other. But right now I just want to get that fundamental of what the lead is supposed to mean. Yeah? If she wants to bark, fine. Yeah? Especially if she's barking and it's in our direction. It's an engage with us kind of bark. Yeah? So move away. Good. Yeah? Good. Nice. Good. So we'll add an extra piece in because she's doing that really well. I feel like she's going to get this maybe a little bit quicker than I prescribed at the beginning, which is good. Yeah? So all I'm going to do, so if you just pass us 2 pieces. So when I reward her now, it'd be cool, thanks for that. What it'd be cool would be if I can get her to come towards me and then to the side of me, so you like her on your left, yeah? So we're gonna put the food, ideally, on her left. Now when she moves towards me, all I'm gonna do, before I actually reward her, so I move away, yes, I'm going to try and get around to the side and reward her there. Yeah. So once you've felt that, you're going to end up here. Yeah. So, yes. Can I just get her into that position? Yeah. So it just gets her into where do we want her eventually? We want her there. So maybe with maybe a little bit of a reinforcement history next to us. So you get this. You get your pressure. Yes. You get guided into that position and then you get rewarded. Yes. Yeah. So all I'm really doing, if you watch my feet, it's my feet that do most of this. 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, she'll do the rest. Yeah. And I just release the food when she's pointing that way. Yeah. Yeah, she's vocal.
Just to jump in here, guys, you may notice that Roxy is really, really vocal. She's barking a lot. Now, she was doing this anyway, but she was barking at everything else. She's barking at her owners now, and while it's something we maybe want to address at some point because it's not very pleasant, it's quite a shrill bark and it's quite annoying, I don't want to do anything about it right now because what we're doing here is trying to build her engagement and relationship with her handler. And if she's engaging with her handler and barking at the same time, and we perhaps correct her for that or discourage it, she may take it that we're discouraging her engagement. And I really don't want that because if we build engagement, we can fix other stuff like barking later easy enough. And as her frustration and arousal levels come down, hi buddy, you may notice that her vocalization comes down anyway. Okay.
So when you reward her, if she's paying attention, if she's focused, can you just get her into that position for the reward? It'd be a nice little habit for her to have later is that she just resets to the side because she knows that's where the food's going to be. Yeah. Because how many pieces of food have you given her over the last 4 years? Millions. Yeah. And they were all in front. Can we get them to be at the side a little bit now and again? So she pays attention. Can we lure her into the side of us? I don't mind if she's this interested in us, yeah? If she's being a bit pushy for the food at the minute, I'd rather that than she was being pushy for sniffing that bush, going to that other dog. Like, yeah? So I know it's for the food, so all I want you to change is a hand out of your pocket. When you say yes, you then go to the pocket, yeah? Because that way you know she heard her marker and then the reward came. The reward isn't for following the food. The food comes after we mark, because it's how you get the difference between bribery and reward. Yeah, a marker, she did the right thing, you mark, yes? Yeah, so that means that you know you didn't bribe her and then reward her for being bribed. You got the behaviour you wanted, and then you marked and rewarded. Yeah, it's how you switch between luring and bribing to actual rewards and progress. Good, so move away from her in whatever direction. Good, good. Yes. Good. Can you lure her into that side position? Can you reward her there if you can? Yeah. Good. It doesn't matter too much where she gets the reward, but it's a nice habit to have is that we just kind of reset into that side position because they'll find themselves there more by accident then, which means that you have to lure less.
Yeah. When she's had training previously, actually getting her to come to the side was always really difficult. She'd come to the side and then scoot round.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that will be because where do we give our dogs things? Yeah, like if I was to hand you something, I'd hand it you like that. I wouldn't go, I'm not doing a drug deal and like sliding it. Yeah, so it's just about can we think about where does all the good stuff happen?
Yeah.
Well, can it be next to us? Good, good. So once she's on you, can you just start walking a bit? That's all I want you to do. Just once she's on you, just start to walk, pick a direction and go. And then if she starts to lose interest in you, come back and go somewhere else. So there, good. Nice, good. Have a splash while you're at it. Good. So move away. Good. Yeah. Now, to begin with, this is it. Yeah. It's so easy to skip past this bit, and we could potentially get her a lot more progress a lot quicker. But the problem is, it will be shaky progress. So if you wanted to build, let's say, a pile of Lego, yeah, and you wanted to build it from there to there, the quickest way would be one on top of another on top of another. But it's going to blow over at the first breeze. If I put 50 and then 49 and then
this is the foundation,
and build it that way, the first breeze comes along, it's going to just stay where it is because the base is good. If you have a strong base of lead pressure, everything else we do, particularly her reactivity, is going to be infinitely easier. There's not even, I can't even explain how much easier it's going to be if we spend a couple of weeks really bedding this in. If she wasn't reactive and she was just a bit of a puller, and she was just a bit of, just a bit of a pain here and there, and just a bit, if she didn't have that reactive side, we maybe could skip a bit of this stuff. But of course, when a dog comes along, this doesn't get a bit more difficult. It gets 80 times more difficult, 100 times more difficult. So we need to know that she's really, really good at this. And then all we then do is up how far she has to move with us. Look at that. How far she has to move with us, how much more work she has to do to get a piece of food, how much we expect of her as she improves her skill level. And then when a dog comes along, well, it's just got more difficult. But we've been working towards more difficult all this time. Yeah? Good. Really nice. Right. And then all we want to also add in is we don't have a release cue with her at the minute. It's on the online thing, so do have a look. Once you've got a chance to have a look through that, the release cue will be important. All I want to do is, once I've decided I don't really want her attention right now, I want her to sniff whatever or have a bit of a breather, I'm just going to kind of go, break, yeah, and I'm going to go with her, yeah. Now, I'm not going to let her pull me, but I'm going to go with her while I'm letting her have her time. And then if I want to switch her back on, it might be like, Roxy, come on. Good. And then we're back into what we're doing, and I ask a bit more, but I want to know that I can let her have a sniff. It's going to be my idea, not hers, because it's really easy for her to be like, she's doing it now. I'm just going to go sniff this thing, I'll catch up. And then she doesn't, and then we're pulling, and so I want to know, right, you go sniff some stuff, it's your turn. And then I'll say, Roxy, let's go, Roxy heel, whatever we're going to call it later. But I just want to start getting into the habit of, if you want her to have a breather while you're doing this, think she maybe needs a wee, or there's just something really interesting she wants to go sniff, and you want her to do it, make sure she knows it was your idea, yeah? So let's just say that there's something really interesting over there, I'm sure there is. Sure, she's got enough of a nose, so let's say I want her to sniff it. Roxy, break. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of go with her a little bit now, and then when it's time, let's go. Yeah? Cool. So just so you know that you're not out here just working every second of the time you're out here, you can let her have a quick breather. Only quick ones, nothing too much, and we're not getting dragged while it's happening. Just kind of going with you, and I'll let you know when it's time to reset to our time, our heel, or whatever we're going to call it. Yeah? Cool, let's keep going. Nice, good. Yeah? And a lot of what we're doing here, we're not just teaching lead pressure, engagement will come with it, yeah? Because you're rewarding her for engaging with you as much as you're rewarding her for coming off the lead, yeah? So it becomes a lot easier because she's in a habit of focusing on us, yeah? Whereas if we just walk from here down to the end of the farm, there's going to be so many other things to focus on that why would she pick us? Yeah? She might pick us and that'd be nice, but she might also pick squirrels, fox poo, whatever, that comes along, dogs, all the rest of it. And if she's picking the minor things to leave us for, she's definitely leaving us when the dog comes along. Yeah? Yeah. Cool. Yeah? And all you can start to do is just expand how far you move in whatever direction, but we're not trying to get from point A to point B anymore. So just pass her over for a second. So something that I think it's a very old-fashioned way of being taught is to walk like this. Yeah. What that does, as far as I'm concerned anyway, that ties everything together. Yeah. And if I turn this way, I'm going to pull her. If I turn that way, I'm going to pull her. And what I'd rather is, I've got all this free space, so I'd rather shorten the lead if you need to, but don't tie yourself together.
I think that's probably the way I walk her.
Yeah.
I tend to walk on a really short lead.
Yeah, I think it used to be how people teach a lot of the people teach how to walk a dog. I'd rather have that because it's still this long, whereas once it's here, it's not. Yeah. That arm is now out of it. Yeah. So good. Yeah. A lot of this is your habits and your way of moving as well. So I always like to say the lead starts here, and it just connects there. So this is a rope, and that's a rope. And then if I need to use it, I can engage this and engage the lead, but then default is that, a strong wind would lift my arm up kind of thing, yeah? And then if I need to then engage it and say, come this way, or stop that, or sit, or whatever, I can do, but I don't want to be walking around constantly rigid, because I want it to be a loose lead, so I kind of need to be loose myself. Good. Yeah. So back into that one hand if you can help it. Good. So that's where arms coming up or arms tying together really just make it really difficult for her to do what we're asking, because it doesn't give her any room for Yeah. Yeah, so you two in the next couple of weeks, when you're doing this, especially if you're both doing it together, if you see the other one's arm come above waist height, just say, drop your arm, yeah? Doesn't need to be a nag, but, which, yeah, but what it'll do is it'll make the other person's brain aware of their tendency. So if you see him have the lead in both hands, just say, hey, one hand. If you see Callie's arm come up, hey, just drop your arm. Your brain will then go, I'm not getting caught out again. And you'll start to fix it a little bit yourself. And within a couple of days of being told arm, your arm will fix itself because it's sick of being told. Yeah. So vocal. Good. Nice, very good, cool. Right, we'll head back up with her. She's done great there. Now, that's longer than you'd probably need to do it for, yeah? I'd rather you did it for shorter amounts of time and then finished while she wants to carry on, if that makes sense, instead of get to the point where she's like, her brain's coming out of her ears and she's lost interest in the food you've got and you're bored and she's bored and we've been out here for 3 hours and seasons are changing in the background. Like you kind of want it to be like, we get started, especially the first few days, we do 5, 10, 15 minutes tops. And then we stop, and we just go back in, and then she's going to be like, no, carry on, can you keep going? Yeah, and you finish on that note, so she then wants to carry on. You don't want to finish when everyone's head is pickled, yeah, and it's getting boring and stale. You want to finish when, if you feel like, God, she's nailing this, go inside. That is the best time to end a training session, is when you feel like, oh my God, is this my dog? This is amazing. And your brain will go, let's do more. Go inside. You'd be amazed at what happens when you come back out.
So that was our first session with Roxy. We did a few repetitions that didn't make it onto camera there because of the wind and because of the lay of the land, but it was pretty much everything you saw in the video. The owners are going to take that away for a couple of weeks and they're going to put that in place, and they're going to do that without anything else really going on. That is going to be her walks for a couple of weeks, because when she goes on normal walks, she rehearses doing everything that they don't want them to do. So they are going to have a little bit of a detox of those behaviors while they build these new skills. If you found this useful, or if you do have a reactive dog and you want some help, then do subscribe, follow us, because there's going to be loads of content that will help you on the journey to having a dog that is no longer causing you absolute nightmares on your walk. Aren't they, mate? See you in the next one.